Welcome back to our special 2-hour edition of Hannity and Colmes. I'm Alan Colmes. There's an expectation now that the 3 American soldiers will be released in Belgrade tomorrow. Here's what may go down. The Cypriot plane will land in Belgrade, then fly the soldiers to Cyprus. In Cyprus, they would board a U.S. transport plane to take the soldiers to Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. And the Pentagon has told family members of the soldiers to get ready to travel to Germany. Keep in mind, however, this is not definite. Milosevic could always change his mind. We're joined again in New York by retired Army Colonel David Hackworth, Shirley Cloyes, Balkan Affairs Advisor for the Albanian American Civic League, and in Washington, retired Army Captain Ryan Henry, now with the Center for Strategic International Studies. Will the American soldiers, Colonel Hackworth, be released tomorrow, in your best guess?
And it's a guess. My experience with fighting the Serbs in 46 and 47 was they captured many of our people, like 40 from my regiment, and they'd hold them a week or a few days and they'd release them. So I'll just take a big gamble and say they'll be released.
I still say, Shirley Cloyes, we hurt that effort possibly by bombing the suburbs of Belgrade tonight.
I don't believe that at all. They will be released when Mr. Milosevic feels like releasing them, when that card has been played out, and then he'll choose another one. That's why we, constantly make the mistake of sending poor souls in white coats as unarmed monitors who then become hostages. We either have that situation or his taking hostages.
Captain Henry, what do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see the release of those men tomorrow?
I can't honestly tell you. I do know the right thing to do is to keep with the game plan we have. If we planned on bombing Belgrade, then we should continue to do that. Exactly. Showing any weakness to using those 3 men as pawns in a media fight would not be good for them.
Right now, the latest pictures from Yugoslavia. It's actually from Yugoslavian television. This happened this evening, tonight. Let me talk a little bit about the refugees. We have an incredible amount of refugees, and I contend that the refugee problem got a lot worse. I'm not the only one contending this, Shirley, that once NATO went in, hundreds of thousands of refugees went to all the neighboring countries, further destabilizing the area. We caused a bigger problem.
That's not the catalyst. This is what astonishes me. Before we ever started bombing, Slobodan Milosevic's troops moved in within seconds of Paris ending.
When did the refugee problem really get exacerbated? After we went in, not before.
Yes, but it has no relationship to the fact that this was Milosevic's intentions already.
And we played right into his hands by doing that, so then he could blame us for this.
No, why do you think?
And if you say this was going to happen anyway,
we have people being locked into trains in an ominous, mirror of what happened under Nazi Germany, being pushed out of the country? That's a flight from bombing. I don't think
Shirley,
so.
If you went back to
history of
to 23 March, the day before the bombings began, and sat down with the 1.5 million Kosovars and said, folks, do you want the NATO bombing, or do you want to go along with Milosevic?
They would all say yes, because for 100 years...
You're speaking for yourself.
No, I'm not.
My view,
I'm not.
looking
I'm very deeply involved with the Albanian community, and I've spent many...
Let's try to settle this thing
No. I've spent the last 4 years in the Balkans. Every Albanian in the camps will say,
it's wonderful to
keep bombing NATO.
Hawks like you.
No, it's not about hawks.
In the United States and advocate war.
Sorry, I flew to the border this summer in a helicopter at great risk.
No,
you're not talking to the right person.
Let me go back, if I can, to Captain Henry. Captain, let's talk about this. The Cypriot envoy is gone. They're trying to negotiate the release of our POWs, yet you saw the pictures that we just put on our screen. Bombing continues tonight in a very significant way. And my question to you is, do we not hurt the chances of the release of these guys by doing this very night? Is that?
No, actually, it's just the opposite. And you can talk to any of the POWs who are in Hanoi. It was the bombing that released them. It wasn't the negotiation.
You agree with that, Colonel?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Now, let me go back to you, if I can, Shirley, because, during the break, you said something to me that just blew me. You seem to take a blame America first attitude.
No,
you
not at
said
all.
the West, and specifically America, needs to look at its complicity, to use your term, and responsibility in what is happening here because we didn't act sooner.
No, I'm talking about 10 years. I'm talking for 10 years, we had a brutal occupation in Europe that we did not respond to. We could have done something about this before it ever got to this point. But we pursued a policy of appeasement and containment. We kept saying this won't become a wider war. Everyone in Kosova can die, but it won't become that. We made a deep mistake.
Maybe we could show some refugee. Maybe we could show some refugee pictures. You know what? They break my heart.
Yes, it's horrifying.
America's been responding to this terror, these pictures that have been going on, and all these atrocities. But now, based on what Shirley's saying, we should have acted 10 years later. You look at all the atrocities, all the misery and mayhem and insanity. There's an insidious evil that permeates this earth. Is America now the world's police force?
Yeah, and also, now I look at this, and from the reports I get from our military, we're creeping into that war in a big way. For example, today the Pentagon sent out an order forming combined arms assessment teams. These are teams made up of senior officers who will go in as an advance party to Kosovo. Right. We've sent Rangers there.
That's news you're making. You're saying that there are ground troops now coming. That
Absolutely.
They're moving in.
There are assessment teams going there, and their job is to determine what the requirements are.
I want to pick that up in a second. We're
going to break it right there. We'll break it right there.
Well, that's
question: could a former leader of the KKK win a congressional seat? David Duke will join us a little bit later on. And remember, if you live in the Atlanta area, write this number down. On May 4th, Sean and I will be recording the show from the Rialto Theater.